All right, today we're going to be building a new rack to replace the grout tubs that I currently have. The reason why we're doing this is I would like to have a rack that's a little bit taller that I can put my trash can that I put some of my other snakes in. So what you're going to need to build this is you're going to need a circular saw, tape measure, the chalk line is helpful, a nice saw blade with as many teeth as you can find, 2-inch screws, and then as many sheets of melamine as you're going to need, along with tubs. So got a couple bigger ones and a couple smaller ones. I just want to make this as versatile as I can so that it's not something I'm going to have to remake later on. Also, we've got some heat tape and a few other things that you'll see as we start to build the project, but it should go pretty quick. So you're gonna need to take your tubs and you're gonna need to measure them. Probably at the widest point, I got 16 3/16. That's what I'm coming up with. Plus the thickness of our material, which is 3/4 of an inch. So what I'm pretty much gonna do, I'm gonna go over here. So 17 is going to be depth, plus I want to give it an extra 1/2 inch lip. We're going to go 17.5 inches. I'd already done another layout before, but I don't think I'm going to go with that. So 17.5 inches is going to be our number. I'm going to mark it on both sides. And the reason why is I want the back piece to also sit inside these verticals that I'm laying out. So I'm going to lay that out there. I'm going to step off the exact height that I want for everything, and then I'm going to snap some lines. All right, so I got chalk line snapped. This right here and that other one back there are going to be the vertical sides to this particular rack that I'm building. And then this is the overall length. So I've swapped my saw with a Diablo 60 tooth wood blade. If you can get an 80 tooth, even better. I couldn't find one today. I know they're online. One more suggestion that you can do if you have the material is if you take your saw and a tape measure and you bump right to the edge of one of those teeth, you can get a dimension, which you can't really see it accurately on this, but 1.5 inches to this edge of the guard. So I use that, and I've got this thick piece of steel. You definitely don't want to use something that's going to bend, but I got this thick piece of steel and these two grips, and I set it at 1.5 inches. Set it right at 1.5 inches. And this is going to be a guide, and it's going to make sure my cuts are really nice and straight. It's not something you absolutely have to have, but it does help with the finished result. Especially, it's worth taking the time to do on edges that are going to be visible. So, like these lines, I'm not going to worry about because these are going to be the back sides of my rack stand. But this is going to be the top, and I just want to make it look as clean as possible. So it's just going to be a nice, smooth cut. All right, so now we need to figure out the depth of our shelves. So our length is 17.5, which we planned, minus 3/4 for the back piece. So that's gonna give us 16 3/4. That's gonna be the depth for our shelves. So we'll take the drop off and we'll start cutting ourselves some shelves out of that. So now I laid out 23 inches wide for the width of the tubs by 16 3/4. I got these to cut out, and then I'll have to cut out a couple more, and then we'll start assembling everything together just that quick. All right, now that we got all the pieces cut, we're gonna start assembling it. I got this little jig just to help. It's not necessary. You're gonna wanna pre-drill the holes with the small drill bit and then run your screws in so you don't crack the wood. All right, so now that I've got the outside part done, I'm just setting the tubs I'm going to be using with a 1/16 inch shim, lining it up, marking it, putting the holes, and screwing it off. Last thing you're going to want to do once you get everything set up, and you don't have to put the heat tape in first. I did in this one just to give it a little test, but I haven't in anything else yet, is you want to get this 3/4 melamine strip, and this is what you're going to glue onto the edges to make it nice and clean. You can get them on Amazon. I set my iron temperature to cotton, let that heat up, and then I'm just going to start installing these strips just like this. So we'll set one up and give you an example. A lot of times I will install these before I put the enclosure together, and it just makes it a little easier. Unfortunately, these got delayed in the mail. So hold it in place, give yourself a little bit of heat. Get this thing started. Once that dries, it won't go anywhere. It'll kind of just hold it really nice for you. So, now we got that. You're just going to want to hold a little bit at a time, make sure it's nice and straight. And all it is you're basically just melting hot glue underneath. Be sure to give it enough time to get that heat on there. Get it right tight to that corner. Just like so. And you just continue with that on everything, and it'll look great when it's all done.